going on, Brandon? How you doing, man?
Hey, how y'all doing, man? I'm doing good. Just a little tired. A little tired.
All right, I hear you, man. I'm gonna get us started and we'll get this thing on the road. Here we go. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Podcast. I'm your host, Rod. Joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we are live on a Wednesday. That's right. Took a bunch of days off. We told you it was gonna happen. I see in the chat some of y'all still weren't prepared. Y'all didn't believe us, but it is what it is. Y'all will get used to it. Just I think Sunday we went to an Xbox showcase at a movie theater.
Yes, that was fun.
That was fun, nerdy stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about it during the week. Yeah.
Then my niece graduated from high school yesterday. So if y'all have been following the show since its inception, you're old now. Okay.
Yes, you are. You're
old as hell. So we had that. I think Thursday we're going to see The Flash.
Mhm.
Friday we're going to see Earthquake. And I think I'm supposed to be on the Karen Hunter show. So this is a busy week. So that's why y'all didn't get that many shows. But we have prearranged to have a guest on the show, and I'm never gonna let my man's down. We got my man Brandon Collins, who you may know from Comedy Outliers. You may know from Drunk Black History. You may know him from Medium Popcorn. He's everywhere in these streets. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good, y'all. I'm doing good. The only issue I have with your whole itinerary for the next few days, though, guys, is that y'all didn't mention The Blackening, and I need y'all to go see that movie. It's one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. Please go see it.
I want to see that so bad. Like, I remember on Comedy Central when it was like just a sketch idea, and I saw the sketch, and I was like, God damn, this is brilliant. And then I was like, man, it's weird that no one did anything with that. And then it's like a movie. I was like, yes, genius already. Could tell this is gonna be a beast.
Yep.
So I can't wait to watch that. It's definitely on my list, dude. If I hadn't bought these Flash tickets pre-sale before The Blackening was announced, I probably would have got those tickets instead. But I love comic book movies, so maybe The Flash will be worth watching. I don't know.
Nah, it's so wild about The Flash because I love Batman. It's my favorite superhero character.
Yeah,
and I have no plans right now to see The Flash. I'll wait and see what you say, Rod. I know a few of our friends in the comic pop culture circle said it's pretty good, but I'd rather just go see Spider-Verse again, honestly, right now.
It's hard to tell what is up with DC movies when they come out,
right?
Because I feel like they all have the same arc. Like it's the trailer drops, the first trailer, everyone's like, oh man. Then as the trailers get closer to the movie coming out and they start showing more and more of the action and stuff, it's like your mind is like, well, maybe they got it right this time. It could be good. And then and then it's like the first batch of preview reviews is always people being like, finally, DC got it all together. The best DC movie you've ever gonna see in your life. And you're like, really? Wow, I guess it must be good. I'm getting excited. And then you see it, and it's normally like mid. And then you leave, and you're like, why did you lie to me? Who are you?
Yeah,
I think that's what DC actually fucked up with The Flash, because James Gunn apparently James Gunn, the head of Warner Bros., this is the best superhero movie ever. And then Tom Cruise was like, this is fantastic. And then no one knew that Spider-Verse was coming out first and how good it fucking was. And so now they're all like, oh shit. Because, it's also stars a problematic person too. They have yet to address head on, the elephant in the room with this. So it's it's very frustrating. That's why I'm not going to actively give them my money until I have enough people say Brandon, you should see this.
It's weird though, because for me, I don't really hold problematic people being in movies against people. I know it's a bigger production than one person. But also just if the movie's good, the movie's good. It won't make me. I'm not the type to be like, I enjoyed this movie, so it's okay. This guy's a rapist. Those are two separate things to me.
Right.
Like this motherfucker need to go to jail. Also, the movie was good, but they should go to jail, right? The issue I have is the amount of people that are trying to actively tell us that this role was so well done, we should just forget about the crime. I've never seen that. Like, I like for anyone before. There's all kinds of criminals in Hollywood. I've never seen a director, producer, anyone give an interview like, okay, hear me out. Okay, the R. Kelly albums were banging, so we got to let them stay on tour. It's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, I imagine like Michael B. Jordan trying doing the promo. He did all that promo with Jonathan Majors, and imagine all that had come out like right around the same time, and like how he wouldn't have been able to spin it the way that these people have been spinning it. It's just insane,
right?
It's crazy.
And I think that's another reason I feel like Marvel's ship is just so much tighter. There's zero Jonathan Major defenders amongst the Marvel people. And I'm sure that guy's a lot of people's friends or colleague, or they thought he was like a good guy to work with and shit. The second that shit dropped, you didn't see anyone break line like, well, actually, guys, I think we need to calm down. Okay. No one can play Kang the way everyone's just like, nope, don't say shit. All right.
I mean, we got a multiverse. They can always be like, here's a brand new version of Kang and keep it pushing.
Yeah, same thing with Ezra though, but DC they don't have their shit together. Speaking of which, man, movie wise, like what's impressed you so far this year? We're about halfway through.
Oh man, I mean, I've been watching a lot of films for Tribeca Film Festival. The wife and I have been covering it the past week or so. So The Blackening, we saw that yesterday. That was phenomenal. That's such a fun experience, and it's black as hell, like unapologetically black. Like they quoted a movie. I'm not gonna spoil it for nobody, but like everyone started saying the lyrics out loud, and it's like one of the most communal experiences I've had in a long time. That was dope. What else? Obviously, Spider-Verse is my Spider-Verse. Somehow, with the high expectations I had, it still dropped up in the top 5 films of all time for me. I have no idea how it pulled it off, but I love that movie to death. Tribeca. We just watched the Milli Vanilli documentary. I think it's gonna be coming out on MTV because the MTV Films production apparently. That was really good actually, because everyone knows about Milli Vanilli, but I didn't actually know about those brothers and like what they went through, like being black in Europe, and like Rob, who was raised in Germany as like a half black kid who was like also like living like most of his childhood in a shelter and like all this stuff, and then you go through the trauma, that fame and that rise and fall. It was very interesting and very well executed. So I would say the Milli Vanilli documentary would be something.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of documentaries, so I'll definitely check it out. I think a lot of people don't know that Milli Vanilli actually stands for Million Vanilla. A lot of people did they put that in the documentary?
No, they had this German white woman whose middle name is Millie. She's like, I came up with the name. I can't.
They going with that. They going with that old story. Okay, all right. And then also, man, it's almost Juneteenth.
That's right.
So you got something big coming out, man, coming up here. Tell everybody, how to get into this next Drunk Black History to celebrate Juneteenth with y'all.
Yes, absolutely. Drunk Black History is a show that I do with my homie Gordon Baker Bone, where we use a platform to elevate and highlight Black historical figures or events or just topics that aren't taught in mainstream media, aren't taught typically in like any educational setting. And so we use the show to bring on comedians or radio personalities like Rod and Karen to come on, talk about a topic, and like, they're getting drunk while they do it because unfortunately our history is very, very heavy. So you need to kind of have some levity to that. And that allows people to get a little bit looser when they're like trying to recall facts and stuff. It's just a fun show, but it's also incredibly educational. Our next show is on Sunday, June 18th at the Bell House in Brooklyn. So if you're in the New York area, please come out. It's at 2 p.m. So you'll still have time to celebrate Father's Day if that's a part of your bag. Or if you're not in the New York area, you can join us live stream. Tickets are available at drunkblackhistory.com. I promise you this is going to be a really, really fun show. We also have a very, very cool intermission thing that we're doing that we haven't done before that I think is going to really resonate with a lot of people. It's something different than what we usually do. But so we have some really fun stuff planned, and we're going to be getting drunk on mimosas and Bellinis. So come rock.
I think also it's it's a good way to celebrate Father's Day too. Like
Mhm.
if you got a dad that you want to take out to do some cool stuff with, likes Black history, you know, old Black men love Black history. Take him out, get him a couple drinks. He'll have a great time. I had a great time as a person on stage, and I had a great time just in the audience. It's so much fun. Between Tati, Gordon, and Brandon, it's like they keep the thing running, even though you think it's gonna get like so super sloppy drunk and crazy.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna go off the rails. And I mean, it'll go off the rails in a fun way, but it never gets like, you know, super so chaotic in there that you can't, that they don't still accomplish the goal of entertaining you and educating you. It's such a fun time.
It is. It's really fun. And one of the comedians that was on your show, I think it was the one that Rod did. We actually seen him in New York when we went to go. What was it? Stick a pole.
So I think it's stick a pole in it.
Okay, yeah.
Different.
That's like the dancing
yeah.
show, right? Where like the pole dancers and stuff.
Yeah,
I thought that
pole
show
dancing and comedians. Yeah, Simeon Goodson. And we're gonna try to get him on the show too. But yeah, we saw him and stick a pole in it. It's just because it's like a small world. But Karen watched it virtually. Are y'all gonna have that option again for this show where people can watch it virtually?
Oh, absolutely. We have in-person tickets as well as virtual tickets. And again, you can get that at drunkblackhistory.com. I'm just putting it in the chat real quick. Yeah, it's a fun time both for people in person and online. Obviously, it's a different energy when you're in person, though. I do have to say that. But I think you can kind of get an idea of the energy from online. It's just that, you know, to Rod's point about the chaotic, when you get on stage especially as a guest, I imagine you feel the energy and you're kind of like, this could go, it's almost like performing in the Beehive. You're kind of like, this could go either way. But it's always like really, the crowd's always really supportive. Even when we talk about some really touchy subjects, like Rod talked about sundown towns, and that tightened people up, but then they slowly started loosening up when they realized like, this is a thing that we have to accept. So let's just keep walking through it. And, you know, it's a lot, but it's also incredibly fun. It's also incredibly stressful as a producer and the co-host of it, because I'm the one that kind of has to recall all the information. So even as I'm getting sloppy drunk, I still have to remember like key things just to make sure the narrative is there. Like I remember Rod, you were on stage, and I think we did a shot together, and then I think I said Missouri. I said like I mixed up like two southern states, and you just went at me, and I'm like, yo, I'm drunk and trying to remember stuff.
Me too. I'm drunk too. But I honestly, man, I had so much fun. I looked forward to it so much. I like read my stuff. But like even if you don't have everything 100% on point, because you know you're drunk. Brandon and Gordon have it between them. You'll still get the story out there. But like I didn't know this until afterwards, but they were like, wow, man, I can't believe you picked sundown towns. And I was like, what? They're like, oh, that's been on the list forever, just nobody picks it. And I was thinking to myself, like, that was like to me the funnest kind of thing to do there. Like, if you're gonna do something for Drunk Black History, you kind of want it to be, at least for me, I wanted to be a little tight. I wanted to be a little like, where are they going with this? You know, and I liked you know, I've never done stand-up before, but I like messing with the audience, you know, like where they, because you know, they're there to have a good time, but then when you're like, you know, I think I said sundown towns means places where they treat Black people like vampires with the same rules as vampires or something like that. And like everyone started laughing. And I was like, okay, we can laugh about this. And that's kind of my sense of humor already, is, you know, laughing about dark stuff. So
it's a lot of fun, man. I mean, you did pick a heavier subject. Like Gordon's been wanting to talk about sundown towns for a while, but like it's always like the really quirky stories that like make me laugh the most. Like we had Yamanika Saunders. She talked about Henry Box, who is a slave that literally shipped himself to freedom in a box. It's like just her trying to wrap her head around it and make sense of it. It's just, she's like, this nigga put himself in a box. Do you understand the faith you have to have that you're gonna land safely somewhere?
Yeah, right.
And they have, I feel like Drunk Black History falls into two categories of presenters. You have very funny people that kind of could talk about anything, and then you have very educated people that know what the fuck they're talking about. And so you're gonna get something good no matter what. The only thing I would add is if you're watching at home, get you something to drink.
Oh yeah.
You know,
have a
like
drink
have a drink it from home. It makes it even better. You feel like you're part of the environment, and as the chaos grows, your drunk mind starts being like, yes, this is what I like this too. You know? So I say you get drunk too.
And the looser, Gordon and I get with the drinking, like the more like personal we start getting about like our experiences with Black history, or just like as Black men. I think one time I talked about how I had a warrant out for my arrest in Jersey City. I don't think I ever finished that story, but
yeah, what happened?
You didn't.
I remember I talked about, so I had for your audience that wasn't part of that show. So a long time ago, I used to work at Newark, in Newark, New Jersey at Rutgers. I was a school counselor doing outreach, school counseling in the community at East Orange and Newark. And I had to report to Rutgers. So I would take the train, but sometimes I wouldn't pay the $1.50 for the little ticket to take the little metro line thing. And one time I didn't pay for it, and I got a citation from a cop. I didn't pay it, and then I was just like ignored it. And then I get a notice in Queens that I have a warrant out for my arrest. Right. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I got to take care of this. Otherwise, I might end up in, jail. But I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell my wife. I had family in town at the time. I was like, oh, I'm not telling nobody. I'm just going to figure out how I'm going to pay bail. So I like researched like how much do you have to pay for bail if you have a arrest warrant for metro ticket. And it's like $1,000. I was like, shit. So what I ended up doing, and this is so bad of me, is I put on my finest collared shirt, I put on some khakis, and I took a copy of Malcolm X's autobiography with me. And I was heading, I first went to the bank to get $1,000, and then I headed to Newark, New Jersey from Astoria, Queens, prepared to spend some time at Holden. And I figured if I looked like a Muslim and I had the Malcolm X biography, people weren't gonna fuck with me. So, but the plus side is I got to the courthouse thing. And they were just like, oh, yeah, just pay the $150. And I was like, I don't have to do nothing else. They're like, no, we're good. And so that's all I did. And I went home.
They'd much rather prefer not to jail you.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't know that, Rod. I'm a Black man in America.
No, I'm with you. I would have
been prepared too.
I would have been worse than you. Honestly, I would have got a kufi and then the white thing that Malcolm was like got baptized in. And I would have showed up like prepared to do some hard time. But this happened to me as well, like with a speeding ticket one time, where it's like I was like ready to fight it, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to be my own, like do some law school, say some Latin shit up in there, like, sir, your honor, habeas corpus. Okay, I think we both know what that means. And no, they were just like, give us the money. I was like, what? They're like, just give us the money, get the fuck out. That's it.
This is where we part ways. We don't need to keep you.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want you here any more than you want to be here. We'd much rather have your money.
Yeah. So I just spent 2 hours, like more than that, 2 hours both ways, just looking educated when I thought I was going to need all this stuff to like help me get through the night.
I just picture you showing up to the clerk desk where you have to pay the money, and they're like, "How can I help you, sir?" And you just like, "We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Okay, Plymouth Rock landed on us. We've been hoodwinked, but sir, it's just $150.
Yeah.
Led astray, run them up.
Do you really want us to arrest you?
Right.
We
They're
will
like,
now.
Someone in the back's like, just let us finish.
I should have just been like, hey, I'm Eddie Collins here to represent Brandon Collins. Oh, yeah. Media popcorn fans will understand that. But I was like, hey, I'm representing my brother Brandon. Here's some money.
Like, someone said the respectability politics finally works. Like if you would have showed up in jogging pants, they would be like, yeah, that's gonna be 5 to 10 years, player.
Oh Jesus.
I can't believe you
walked up in here some tennis shoes.
What you expect? But are you back? You're back. So you're back in NYC right now?
Yep, I'm back in New York for the foreseeable future until the writer strike resolves.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how's the writer strike affecting?
I mean, it shut down everything. Like, stopped my momentum right now. I mean, I have a manager, and like I'm working on some stuff that he gave me some guidance on. I got a few things brewing, but it's like I can't do anything with it until things let up. And so I'm hoping that's by the end of the summer at least. So then when I go back to LA in the fall, which I'm planning on doing for a few weeks, I'll be able to have some meetings and hopefully get some things in motion. But that's the plus side about being a comedian and being a producer of live events, is that I still got that going on. Like Drunk Black History is getting a lot of press. We're getting a lot of eyeballs on us just from this show. And so I feel like audiences are going to be looking for more live content, because there's going to be such a gap in a few months between like new content on their favorite streamers and stuff like that. And so, yeah, gonna keep producing live events and get stuff ready.
This is what I like about having our podcast, and one of the reasons I never stopped it, even when it was like, you get another season of Game Theory, it's like, yeah, but I'm gonna have to still do this because this feels more comfortable relying on. It's our blood, sweat, and tears, and you have to keep feeding your audience. You can't just like neglect them and then come back like, hey guys, so I guess you've been seeing in the news, I don't got a job anymore.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Black Guy Tips, so
that's kind of that's the reason why Comedy Outliers came back in a way. It was kind of like, Mike and I were like, hey, we ain't got no writing jobs right now, so we brought back the Comedy Outliers podcast, but we also have a show coming up too. But it's lonely out here.
Yeah. Speaking of which, how's Comedy Outliers going now that you and Mike are back? And what was the like,
bro?
What was that? Literally, the conversation that started was,
the
writing jobs. Like, what happened?
No. I mean, I am so happy to have the Comedy Outliers podcast back, and folks, you can find it on all your favorite podcast applications. Just because Mike and I are incredibly close, and like we're like brothers, right? And so like any kind of working relationship and like partnership that you have like that, sometimes you have these moments where you need some distance, right? And so we did the show, we did the podcast, we did the live show consistently for over 8 years, you know what I mean? And so it got to a point where we were kind of going into different directions, and we stopped the podcast, we stopped the live show, we kind of did our own things, and then we've been reconnecting over the past few years, but really getting closer. And we were just talking about the state of comedy, especially in New York City, and how like it's so fucked up because it feels like it regressed. And that's a lot of things since 2020. And I don't know if we want to get into that, but a lot of things have regressed, especially for Black performers and Black producers. And we were like, we got to bring it back. Like we were already talking and stuff, but we got to bring the podcast back because we got to start talking about the real shit again. Because no one's talking about the real shit.
When you mean regress, do you mean regress as far as opportunities, regress as far as rooms, regress
opportunities, rooms, access? I mean, a lot of lineups in especially independent shows in New York City don't even have the token POC person anymore. It's crazy. It's like for instance, today I'm doing a show, and I'm grateful for the spot, but I'm doing a show where it's all guys. And it's like there's like the lack of diversity I'm seeing in these lineups is very, very concerning compared to what it was just a few years ago. And so things like that. And then also, and this is a tribute to you guys with the Black Guy Tips, there's very few Black podcasts that have like the fan base of like a Mark Maron or a Joe Rogan and things like that. And you all are like top tier in that industry. But in New York, we don't really have that, right? It's maybe in Godfrey we trust, but he's also very selective on who he has on the show, right? So it's like, how do we have a Black platform where we can elevate other Black artists and get them the same reach? And so I'm not saying Comedy Outliers is going to get to that level, but Mike and I are sure as hell going to try. We're sure as hell
I think
to, like,
also, I think the thing for us, like our audience isn't as big as the podcast at the top of the charts, but every comedian that comes on here will be like, your people come out to our show.
Yes.
Yeah,
your
they was
people
like, we
listen to our podcast. Your people leave feedback. Your people hit us up on social media.
Yes, they let us know.
I think that's the thing that we can win in because, like JL Covan is a great example of somebody that has done Mark Maron, who's done Adam Carolla a bunch of times. I'd say they're best friends. I say him and Adam Carolla basically like this. Okay, like y'all can quote me on that. But and anything Adam says, I'd say that might as well be JL saying it. But he would tell us all the time, like, I get more traction from your audience than I do from those shows.
Absolutely.
And you would think even if like say 1%, 5% of the people that listen to those shows were like, I'm going to become a JL Covan fan, he'd see a huge boost. And it's like so weird that they don't connect to people like that.
I gotta like give you all your flowers. Like your fan base is incredible. Without your fan base, like Medium Popcorn probably wouldn't still be around. Like Drunk Black History got like a lot of attention because of you guys. And I've done like big podcasts. Like I've done Doug Benson's Doug Loves Movies like dozens of times. Like I've been on episodes for like Edgar Wright and like big celebrities and barely got in a bump. And I'm like the guy that's beating them and like making jokes. But your podcast, your followers,
it's so weird, man. It's such a weird phenomenon because I think for years people sold the and this is the kind of conversation you can hear on Comedy Outliers, by the way, but like, because sometimes like they give you kind of like behind the scenes inner working stuff, which is why I love the show. Is that it's not
the lingo and the language.
It's not just like fluff in a lot of ways. Like it's like it's funny, it's smart and all that stuff, and that's cool too. But I like being able to be like real for a second is just so hard and rare right now, because the game that everyone was told was like most entertainment, even in podcasting, it's like, well, if you can get on the like kind of network with these white shows, you'll get like a boost because they just need to be introduced to you and then they'll come over. And it's kind of an illusion because it's like it feels like you're more disposable. Like, here's our black guy of the week. All right, bye, black guy. Bring in the next guy. And like the audience doesn't come with you for whatever reason. But I think especially the way we started our show from like the second we could hook up our blue snowball mic to
those are the days.
To our computer desktop speakers, we would make calls on Skype and we would network with our like podcasters we like, whether they use Skype or the phone, and it was only audio. We weren't live. And so I think
a soundboard, none of the fancy shit we got now.
Yeah, we used to even make a joke. I don't even think these podcasts are around anymore. But we used to make a joke about the podcast we network with and call ourselves the Chitlin Circuit because there wasn't that many black podcasts, and it was like, well, if we're gonna be black, let's do it together. And so I think that's a space that definitely needs to continually exist. But the other thing you said, Brandon, too, is it does feel like we've regressed recently. It feels like white guilt comes in waves and it doesn't really know what to do with itself. So like when you see something terrible like George Floyd, they're just like, oh God, we have to get black people on our platforms. We have to give them money and we do this and that. And the problem with guilt is that guilt subsides, right? Yes. So after a while, you don't feel as guilty, and now you're like, that goddamn black people got a lot of opinions, and I'm getting kind of tired of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, June 2020, I didn't want to do a Drunk Black History because we were all like in the middle of COVID, George Floyd, and I remember like my wife said at the very beginning of June, she's like, you should do a Juneteenth show on Zoom. You know how to use Zoom. You can make it you can make it work. I was like, you're right. And like the moment we released tickets and started spreading the word, so many white people bought tickets. I mean, I think we sold like 350 tickets and like 70% of it was white people. And it was like insane. And then the drop off between the years has been, it's almost, it is offensive. It is offensive how little white interest there is. It's almost offensive how little interest there is in celebrating Juneteenth actually. For live events, I would say there's only 2 other Juneteenth events in New York City that I know of this weekend. Like there's a big event happening in 2 days that Mike Brown and I have talked about. That it's not only are they releasing a new Wes Anderson movie this weekend, but they're also releasing at the Bell House, the venue that we're having Drunk Black History, which I really appreciate them. They're cool to work with, but they're hosting this like live movie reenactment drinking show that's doing Brandy's Cinderella. And the last 2 shows I've seen of the cast photos have been all white people. So I'm like, how are y'all going to do this?
Yeah.
Right.
They're like weird. It's that weird space too where like, are you doing it because it's Juneteenth and you want to acknowledge black contributions? If so, stand up in it. Like let people judge you for it. But like, because there's a level of respect that I would have for that where I'm like, look at y'all. 3 years after the fact and y'all still trying to put on. And then there's also the level of like, did y'all not know this was happening? And if so, that's kind of worse. Y'all y'all accidentally did a black show on Juneteenth.
It's really fickle when you think about it because, like Roger said, the white guilt. And I remember when things were happening, me and Roger was telling people when white people's guilt first happened, go get that money, go cash them checks, go get them jobs, go get them promotions now because it will not last.
Yeah, it's definitely like a finite energy source, but it's just interesting, like you said, because it feels like a regression to the mean, and in some places like an overcorrection. Like we off that shit. We don't need women on the set no more, right? You're like, wait, what happened? That should have been like a forever thing. Like we finally had got to a place where it was kind of like some diversity and some inclusion. Let's stick to that. And I think a lot of stuff that you're seeing now with like shows getting canceled and the way that people are treating like the school books and all that stuff. Everything's like this regression, like this an overcorrection for how guilty they felt to like now they're angry that they felt so guilty. Like these Negroes are taking over everything. Like, calm down, man.
It's not like that at all. And it's very frustrating when a lot of times the Black and brown and women LGBTQ, a lot of times we're the last ones in the doors in the first place. Like literally the last ones in the doors. But the second money look funny and the second something don't look right, we're the first shit to sell off and be like, all right.
Yep. But I'm glad y'all are doing it, man. I think it's such a fun time is the part that I think is that people need to recognize. Like it's not just gonna be like, woe is me, good times.
Oh no, it's even with the like heavier subjects, it's very little like do you like just wallow in sadness and stuff. You just keep it moving, like even because usually there's like a funny moment where like Rod, you mentioned like sometimes we have scholars and stuff. Like we had Dr. Andrew Perry on talk about redlining, and he got so hammered for no reason. Like it wasn't like we were like giving him shots and stuff. You just got drunk, and he was the first one up, and he like had a moment where he was like, oh but man, I'm really drunk. Statistics, and he remembered all these numbers. He was like, wow. And I'm like, oh, that's what the show is. It's like you have to give yourself a moment to realize, oh, I'm drunk, but then also recall what you're trying to say. And it usually comes out very poetic and like funny and genuine. And I think that's what our audience really appreciates.
And there's like moments in between the stories too. I was at one where they showed you how to like make drinks. A bartender dude that taught you how to make drinks. Simeon Goodson performed stand up. Gordon led everybody and lift every voice and sing. Like
there's always after that I'm out.
Yeah, everyone was like the people that got the second verse were the kids that like raised their hand when the teacher was letting us out of school early.
Yeah, or they were forced to learn it. They was like, their parents like, you gonna learn all these lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know that I know the whole Pledge of Allegiance anymore.
I do.
Like we was at the high school graduation. I was like, we're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I like 3 words. First of all, I didn't do it, but then like
I'm like, I don't gotta do that shit no more.
Like 3 sentences.
I'm an adult.
Like, 3 sentences in, I was like, I don't even remember this part. When did we say that?
I remember it.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, lift every voice and sing. Like I know the lyrics now, but like when Gordon first started doing the show, I was definitely like, I knew the harmony. Yeah, so I was just kind of like trying to keep up with the key, because I don't even think my mom knew that there was a Black national anthem. You know what I mean? Like,
right? Yeah.
So it's like I wouldn't know about
that's when
that.
You start humming. Everybody know. If you've been at Black church, they used to sing that shit like every Sunday, or every fourth Sunday.
Like them hymn books.
And I used to remember getting to that second verse, and that's when you start humming. That everybody knows. Yeah.
I just live every day like Return of the Mac is the Black national anthem. That's how the rule I abide by.
I'm down with that. I'm down with that. At least that way we can get white people to sing it. They'll learn all the words of that shit.
Return of the Mac.
That's what Jesus came out the cave to. when they were like he popped up on the what was like the third day or whatever, he came out the cave. He's like, boom, return of the man. They heard that, whoa.
And then right next to him was the Burger King nigga, because that's apparently like what Mark Morrison was doing. He was getting residuals off of Burger King for some reason.
You lied to me. Yeah, I can see it. I go to church if they did that. You know what? Let's get into some news too. All right. Speaking of church, it was a big day for people that loved the Lord last week, and we weren't on the air, so y'all didn't get to hear our thoughts on it. But your boy, Patrick Robertson, you may know him as the guy on the 700 Club.
It's been old forever.
That I always say, why is he still alive? That man's been old since my grandma put him on the TV.
Yes. He could be old forever.
And he's and so many good people have died. People that brought joy to the world, that tried to do the best they can with good and inclusion and stuff. And then this man who was a straight up bigot, I could tell even when I was a kid. It'd be on Fox. I'm like, You're not saying the words of slurs, but I feel the slurs in his energy.
Yes.
Well, guys, he finally kicked the bucket.
That's right. Him downstairs.
Him downstairs. Okay. I guess the devil needed a new demon.
Oh no.
And he's reached up and grabbed dear old beloved Pat. So let's just have a moment of silence for Pat real quick.
Come on.
Celebrate. Oh, this could honestly be the national Black Anthem.
This is how I went.
We love to see it. Okay. So yeah, my man Pat, he didn't make it. He died from natural causes, I guess. I didn't look up any details. I mean, how could he have died?
It'd be funny if he died in the most fucked up way, like like he got decapitated by a blender.
Right. Yeah, he's just such a he just has that energy of like the crypt keeper, but for Christians. So it's like this man needed to go anyway. And so we're proud to see it. In case you've forgotten, because I think this is what happens. You watch over death and everybody goes, Rod, really? A man died. You're playing Celebrate? You can't even monetize this on YouTube now. And I'm like, yeah, I'll gladly pay the money. I'll gladly let them take the money. But let me remind you some of his greatest hits.
His greatest hit.
Yeah, let's not let it be forgotten. This man put in a lot of work being the goddamn devil. Here you go.
The wholesale slaughter of unborn children. We have killed over 40 million unborn babies in America. Have we found that we are unable somehow to defend ourselves against some of the attacks that are coming against us, either by terrorists or now by natural disasters?
Televangelist Pat Robertson once implied abortion was the reason for Hurricane Katrina.
I am not at all persuaded that so-called homosexuals are homosexuals because of...
First of all, how hateful you gotta be to say so-called homosexuals?
I mean, look at that hairstyle, bro. He like fucking Palpatine. Oh, someone in the chat just said that. Yeah,
like
he looks fucking crazy.
Only because, like, here's the thing: people only bring out so-called when they really hate somebody. You know what I mean? Like when you like the so-called white man. Everybody I know that's ever used those words hate white people. Like you never say it as a good thing. You know, I went down to the bank. They gave me my so-called money back. You like, that's not how that works.
Biological problems. There may be a very few, but there's so many that have been made homosexuals because of a culture.
He railed against the LGBTQ plus community every chance he got.
My wife has become a real problem. She has no respect for me as the head of the house. She insults me. She even went as far as stretching her hand to beat me. I've lost my self-confidence. Her words hurt so much, and she refuses to talk through our problems. Please tell me what I can do.
Well, you could become a Muslim, then you could beat her.
He made
Jesus Christ.
Okay. What? Okay. Bars. Bars.
statements such as these.
The people of color have to rise up and overtake their oppressors, and then, having gotten the whip handle, if I can use that term, then to instruct their white neighbors how to behave. Now that's critical race theory.
Would say
That's also what he believes the lyrics to Whip Nene means. That's what he thinks.
Oh, no.
He thinks that's what the song's about.
this of CRT, or as Herschel Walker put it,
I'm sick and tired of them wanting to teach CTR in school.
a deep
What happened to that man?
Not CTR.
What happened to that boy? What happened to Herschel Walker? Remember when he
I think
was
he's an
on-
advisor for George Santos.
He lost. They pushed him
Really?
right on off stage.
No.
Okay,
But
'cause
I
mean,
would believe it. I would believe
you're
it.
right. That lie was a little too good, Brandon, because your boy was like, oh, I didn't know that, but makes sense. But yeah, Herschel just disappeared, just poof, puff of smoke, and
it's like Herman Cain after he ran. You know, like you never heard that 999 plan no more.
Right, or Herman Cain after he went to that that event with Trump at that Trump rally with no mask. You don't hear from him anymore. He probably high-fiving Pat Robertson down there.
Oh no!
No, I'm just kidding. You know, Black Hell is a different section.
That separate us out by race.
They would never let them be.
What music you think they play in Black Hell? They play like Sweet Caroline all the time.
What else music do the black
like
people
George
hate?
Harrison or something? Not even
Probably.
the full Beatles, just George Harrison.
Just Yoko's albums. I don't
Jesus.
know. So just probably just terrible stuff. Or actually, you know, if Black Hell is where the Black Coons go, they probably play cool music. Probably play good music. They hate it. Like,
why's this shit rhyming?
More Chronic album? Ah! Put on some Hootie.
Anti-Semite, and 2 days after 9/11, Jerry Falwell and Robertson said the following.
What we saw on Tuesday, as terrible as it is, could be minuscule if in fact God continues to lift the curtain and allow the enemies of America to give us probably what we deserve. I really believe that the pagans and the abortionists.
I totally concur.
Of course he does. Televangelist Robertson died at 93.
All right, we don't need the rest of this. Thank you, Smug White Man. But yeah, of course I'm proud and happy to be alive the day this man died. You know, it's like a lot of people been waiting 93 years on this. You know, so a lot of people didn't make it. He lived for way too long and said terrible, horrible things. And I'm glad that he's gone, and I'm glad we got to celebrate it as a family, everybody. Speaking of church, Southern Baptists refused to let Saddleback Church back into the denomination because they have women pastors.
Wow.
That's right. It's not just Pat Robertson, guys. It's a mega church, and they still won't take them back, which is super wild because that's a lot of money.
And they turned it down.
Y'all turn it down. Mega church money? I didn't know the church was doing so well in the pandemic, okay? I guess I was wrong. I thought the COVID almost took y'all out because you couldn't gather in big groups no more. But I guess y'all lying, because if you got money to turn down, then shit, you got more than enough money.
The Lord finds a way, Rod. The Lord finds a way.
Listen, that's what I say. When he closes a door, he opens a wallet, you know? The Southern Baptist Convention has refused to welcome Saddleback Church back into its fold, rejecting an appeal by the California megachurch over its February ouster for having women pastors. Now, what is it about women that means they can't be a pastor
and can't lead?
Like, what is it exactly? Like,
it's more of men.
Like, did like a man pastor walk up in there and see the women preaching and looked around and was like, oh no, they doing it all wrong. Y'all going to hell. Y'all Jesus Christ, man. They really fucked this one up. Guys, we got to get them off the stage, get some men up here. People can only understand the Jesus if it's coming from a penis. You know? I
mean, remember, a lot of like these old white niggas still don't believe that women should like say anything and have their own thoughts and stuff. Like, I saw that movie Woman Talking, thinking it took place in like 1718 or some shit. That shit took place now. I was like, what is going on?
Like the screen cuts to like 2017. You're like, 2017?
Yeah, they had one guy in the house with a bunch of debating whether or not to stay with these rapists that are just pillaging all the women in the community. And then they're like, why do you have the one guy here? Like one of the little girls, and like, oh, because he's the only one that can read. They wouldn't let any of us women learn how to read. I'm like, what
right. Right. It's like you keep expecting like them to pan out to 1817, and then like later in the movie you see a car. You know, they stop by Hardee's. You're like, what the when is this?
Yeah, I thought the village was fucked up, but that was a whole different type of twist.
Yeah. And a lot of it boils down to misogyny, and it's all across the board. It ain't white churches, the black churches that'll tell you that women don't have the right to preach, women can't lead a flock, and all types of shit. But you know.
They also have rejected a similar appeal by a smaller church, Fern Creek Baptist of Louisville, Kentucky, which is led by a woman pastor. which, you know, I get why they rejected that when they wasn't making no money. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you a small church? Okay, well, big bank take little bank. We don't need your little money. Rejecting the mega church, that's when you know the misogyny is real.
Oh, it's real.
It's a core belief, okay? But yeah, man, the convention hall packed about 12,000 Southern Baptists. It was quiet after the announcement, appearing to have listened to the earlier urging by the SBC president Bart Barber for them to show restraint. I know sometimes there are churches where people wind up in biblical divorce, but we don't throw divorce parties at church, and whatever these results are, I'm asking you to behave like Christians. So I think they said that because they thought their crowd would cheer, that they would say these women will not be able to join the church.
And it's insulting. So you know it's insulting, so you know it's wrong.
You know, but you know, that's what Jesus is all about, you know, just kicking people out of church. I think that was like a big part of his deal was like, I don't want people in the church.
Yeah, it's like verse Job 92, you know what I mean? Like, it's written in the Bible, like, don't let the women at the patio.
Yeah, on the cross, I think he said, Father, please forgive them because they're going to be letting women preaching. You know, we don't fuck with that. All right, kill me. And then they killed him. And then 3 days later, return of the Mac. Oh my God.
Here I am.
Yeah.
That's the best song of all time. I don't give a fuck with it.
It really is a good song. It really
Well,
is.
I'll tell you one thing. A woman didn't betray him. It was his boy that betrayed him.
Judas, yeah.
Yes.
Jay Leno and Adam Carolla are teaming up for a comedy fantasy camp for aspiring comedians and writers. Brandon, I think we got to make a road trip.
Hey, that sounds like a nightmare. Just the hackiness that's going to come out of that camp.
Yeah, I can't wait till I make enough money to be like, Brandon, come over here and we'll start something up for us.
I'm just trying to picture me in the class trying to write jokes that Adam Carolla's gonna be like, nah, that joke doesn't work. I'm like, what's wrong with the joke? well, first of all, you said Black Lives Matter, so you gotta delete that.
First of all, you said nigga, and we don't use that word here.
We use the hard R, and you don't get to say it. Yeah,
you know, I was on the Man Show. I know what comedy is, and that is not comedy.
This joke doesn't have enough titties in it.
Jay Leno and Adam Carolla. That's such a weird, odd couple.
And what writers got the money and the time to do this at this point? Like, you must honestly, if you could go to this camp during the writer's strike, you doing too well. You know, like you should be buying donuts for everybody down at the march.
Yes, I wanted to ask you that. Have you gone to the march, just participated in it or anything?
I haven't just because like towards the beginning of the strike, you know, I was like packing up my life in LA, and then I do plan on going to some of the protests here in New York. Just trying to figure out what my schedule looks like, you know, because a brother in between jobs. So
you got ideas for your funny sign yet?
Oh no, not at all. Except maybe like pay me, nigga. But I don't know if I can say that on the
I don't know if they have to pass some type of like ethics code, but
I think
that sounds like it's not going to.
You never know. I mean,
they don't have one.
I've had some wild stuff get through leadership in various companies, so you know, I have a way.
But yeah, it just feels weird if you can actually afford to go to this, and I wonder if they're like taking advantage of, not taking advantage, but like there's people that maybe want to get into the game.
That's a very specific type of, the only people I can see like really like thinking that that's good for their career would be white guys.
Right.
Because if I think about that program, I'm like, even like Adam Carolla and Jay Leno, like they're let's say they say, oh, we're gonna hook you up with like representation or opportunities for touring and stuff. It's only gonna be a specific type of like, you know, sensibility that like, you know, the reps are going to have and things like that. It's going to be very limited as to how far their reach is in regards to diversity and, you know, diverse options for you as a participant.
Yeah, it's going to be one of them things where they'll be like, yeah, we'll open up to anybody, but when they put you out there, nobody's going to want to represent you. If they do, they're going to half-ass it or tell you don't nobody want
you. Definitely have
to. Time.
You'll definitely be establishing that lane for yourself by going there. And, like you'll kind of be making a statement about your career. So yeah, I can't wait to see the pictures from the camp. I feel like I want to see the faces and what the percentages are up in there. How many? Because I just feel like Brandon's right. It's a white man fantasy camp because that the comedy for Corolla at least is not kind of brown people, immigrants, women. Like it's not necessarily the space a lot of those comedians would like to go into.
It's also like neither one of them have been like famous. Like they have like their own fan base and stuff, of course, but they haven't been popping since the late 90s. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
right.
Yeah, and comedy has changed.
unless they bring on some really big hitters, like just through their network for that camp. Like I don't see the immediate advantage of like participating in anything like that.
Yeah, the flyer does say and more, but they don't list any of who the and more are gonna be. But if those are your you always put your big names first. If those are your headliners, that's not. I think there's a lot less people that are gonna sign up.
Yes, and I don't see too many young people unless they idolize them.
Exactly. Yeah,
because they are so old. They are of our generation.
Yep.
You got a whole generation of people that goes who?
Yeah.
And remember, the comedy community still is kind of like iffy on Jay Leno too. I mean, he did that job for a long time, but the way he got the Tonight Show, that whole beef between him and Dave Letterman, like that's a legendary story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, he had the accent a few, what was it, like a year ago? And I remember a lot of comedians showed love then, but that doesn't mean that all is well.
Also, I don't know that people talk about him as a respected writer. You know what I mean?
He's a joke machine, though. He is a joke machine, but it's not.
I'm not saying he does just like people don't really quote his stand up. People don't like.
No,
I think I don't think people think like they might think of him as a late night host, and at least if they're old enough to remember that,
right?
But I don't think people think of him as like, oh yeah, he wrote 10 TV shows and that's why he's so great. Speaking of beef, Anita Baker removed Babyface from her tour after a Twitter feud and scrap performance.
Oh damn! What happened?
See, I've barely been following this, but this article says
and a lot of
Babyface posted a sad post. It was a post that pretty much was like, "Y'all, I'm gonna lose a lot of money." That's how that post came off.
And like low key, it kind of sounds like his fans lost him that money if Anita Baker is to be trusted, which I don't. I've heard some mixed reviews on.
Right, and I've heard people say that she was difficult to work with when she used to tour years ago, and so they was like they don't even know about people would even really work with her.
Well, this is the statement she put out. It's unfortunate and disheartening to see how things have played out via social media. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Babyface's comment. Sorry. Let me. I want to start with what she said first, which was
this nigga
on Monday, Baker asked Babyface, whose real name is Kenneth Brian Edmonds, on Twitter to call off his fans, she said, who are bullying and threatening her as a result of him not performing during the May show on the tour. She dubbed them the Kenny Crazies. Some of his fans are not accepting of reality that he is contracted as special guest support on my tour. Some even want to hurt me. Crazy town, she tweeted. Her tweet came after a week of alluding to the dust up over Babyface not performing at a May 10th New Jersey stop on her tour. The night of the New Jersey concert, Babyface took to social media to tell fans he was asked not to take the stage at the Prudential Center so that the headliner Baker could perform her full set after the show got off to a late start. Fans and celebrities responded with criticism of Baker. Later, Babyface told People magazine in a statement May 11th that his set was cut due to technical issues, explaining that the production crews were unable to get a video screen running in time for his performance. On Monday, Baker told her Twitter followers that Babyface is a special guest support act on my tour. This false narrative of a co-headliner is creating unrealistic expectations and aggression from his fans towards me. He should tell you guys the truth. On June 6th, she tweeted, Live Nation took full responsibility. I went on my stage at the appropriate time, did my job without the benefit of a full production. Babyface and Baker had a past legal dealing where he sued her in 2006, but Baker told Twitter followers on June the 6th that had been settled and there were no hard feelings between them. My company defended and prevailed against the lawsuit, not by Babyface, but his reps at the time. Kenny came to me years ago in the spirit of community. We put it all behind us and came together in love, peace, music, and community and forgiveness, she wrote. But I guess it's not all forgiven because kicked him off the tour. Babyface said, I'm saddened by the news that Anita... First of all, he posted it with a broken heart emoji. Then it was a picture of him singing in shades in all black background. behind him. Like it looked real sad.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I said. It looked like he's like, oh baby, I got to tell the family that we ain't gave him Christmas this year.
Right. Like he looked like he looked like he's singing at a funeral in this picture.
Oh,
And then like a tribute. And he said, I'm saddened by the news that Anita Baker has decided to remove me from the Songstress tour. It's unfortunate and disheartening to see how things are played out via social media. While I was looking forward to the rest of the dates, I have nothing but love and respect for Anita, and I wish her the best for the remainder of her tour. So, I mean, that does tell you that it was definitely her tour if he's writing that kind of a message.
Yeah, he was opening for her, so it's her tour.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly like her people are the ones that made it incredibly challenging, and they are the ones that should have been on top of the production crew to make sure the technical difficulty, all that stuff should be ironed out, especially if this isn't the first date that this is like, if this isn't the first date of the tour, this shouldn't be happening after a few runs of the show. Everyone should know what to do. So like for me, that's all in her people. If she's the headliner and probably organizing, he's just the opening act. But at the same time, it's like, he shouldn't be penalized for all that happening. They should all still get the time, unless again, the producer and stuff didn't work out with the venue to have a little bit of a cushion between. Because I remember I went to a Bad Bunny concert, and it was the first concert that Puerto Rico had since the pandemic, and it started 3 hours late because he wanted to make sure everyone who had a ticket could get in because security just wasn't equipped. And then he did a 3-hour concert. You know what I mean? So you have to work, your people have to work out with the venue, be like, hey, what's our wiggle room? Do we have a curfew? And if they do, then you have to like let people know that in advance if things are fucking up. Like that shouldn't have all fallen on Babyface.
Yeah, I think also it sounded like I have sources that people on Facebook, someone on Facebook that says they got blocked by Anita Baker on Twitter. So I have some sources that say that Anita could be a bit finicky. But I think it feels like an overreaction to him going on Twitter to tell his fans, this is why I couldn't perform.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and he not like he went and slandered her or anything. He
right.
was like, you know,
it did like maybe
happened.
If you already have, like, if y'all actually have some beef behind the scenes, I see how someone could read it as shade. Like, oh, fuck you. You acting like it's our tour when it's really my tour. But he does have people that do show up for him.
Yeah.
Specifically, it's why you put him on the fucking tour in the first place. So he does need to address, like, yo, the people that showed up for me.
Because it don't sound like she was addressing it.
Yeah, this is what I didn't just like skip my date. I didn't pull a Lauryn Hill. Everything was on time. There's technical issues. And at each turn, he seems to go out of his way to be like, it's nothing to do with Anita Baker. And I don't know how many people did it or whatever, and if that was a real thing. If it was real that people harassed her, I didn't go through her mentions. If that's real, it's another fucking reason I hate the social media internet version of fandom. Because everything to them is comedy and content. Harassing people is funny to them. And it's always makes you the righteous hero when you harass people, because
even if you're wrong,
I don't give a fuck whose side you're on. Everybody that harasses people on Twitter think they're the right side.
Yeah,
Every last person. And then when it happens to someone they like, they're like, that's harassment. You can't dox people. Oh, this girl said she too pretty to work at Home Depot. Go to 117 Main Street. That's where she worked. Stow up at her job. Get her fired. It's like, what is happening with y'all? But I could see a world where she was, if she's prickly towards people on Twitter already, she blocks a lot of people. And then here come a few people in the name of Babyface being like, bitch, that, you know, because you know they don't have no respect. And then her being like, you know what? Fuck it. Get them off the
It's all
tour.
ego.
All
it's ego.
It's sad because, you know, I think at least for me, I don't know how y'all feel, but I always hope there's going to be some age where this kind of shit doesn't happen because we've all outgrown it. It's like, I'm just lucky to be 73, Brandon. I don't care what you said on the Twitter or the TikTok. Come on down to the tour. We're going to keep doing this tour. You 73 and you like block everybody and fuck him.
It's tough too, because as a singer, like if I'm a comedian, I get dropped off a tour. All right, well, if I'm good enough, I should be able to do club spots and pick right up and get some tour dates, right? Or something. Whereas a musician, I imagine Babyface can't just jump on another tour or like set up his own tour. You know what I mean? That takes a lot of time and logistics.
All his fans are gonna be like, when can I see you again?
He's like, on Twitter, I'll be doing a little I'll do a Zoom show.
I think he just did a tiny desk.
Yeah, he did. And the thing that's fucked up.
You don't get paid for that, right?
No, but I'm just like, that's promotion, and that's like I'm performing. Come see me. You know, it's almost like a waste now because you watch that Tiny Desk. You go, oh, I want to see Babyface. You won't be seeing him on this tour. I wonder, can you even get your money back?
Right, because you know the tour, the whole schedule's out, and people bought tickets in advance, and you know it's happening recently. So let's say you have something scheduled later on this month. So all of a sudden, I bought the tickets to see Babyface because you know there are people that are like Anita Baker, she okay, but I'd rather watch Babyface. Then you have some people that's there for Anita Baker, because fans are all over the place. And so I will be highly disappointed if I've seen him live before. He was on a great show live. He plays the piano, everything. It's really nice. Yeah. But it's just one of those things where I would be sad if I purchased the tickets to see him and then didn't get to see him.
It's also interesting because I've watched some of the online interaction, even though I didn't participate in it. And it's turned into like hives of like, this person did the right thing, that person did the wrong thing, and let's fight about it. And because it goes along gender lines and race and all this stuff. And it was just like, I don't know, man. It just seemed like this shit should have been easy to work out. Like it just didn't seem like all this, you know what I mean? Maybe say he's not worried about the money, but I'm gonna be real. Nobody worries about money more than rich people. That's how they got rich. You know who not worried about the money? The people that really wasn't on tour. You know what I'm saying? Like the people like the R&B singers that work at Target now, like A. Marie or somebody. She wasn't worried about it. But yeah, he might be worried about it. He might sue her. It was a joke. But he might sue her. I do remember a joke. I don't even know it was a joke, but like there was a rumor going around in like 2000 and whatever 10 or some shit when I don't know if you remember the rapper Million. She was with Rockefeller for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And somebody said they saw Million working at Target as a cashier because Jay-Z never did nothing with it. It was like, God damn.
Listen, people have rises and falls in different sizes. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's possible.
And look, I don't know what Babyface bills look like. So that's why I can't be like, oh, he'll be all right. Like, he'll be all right if he needs to live in your $1,600 apartment, but he might not be all right if he got a motherfucking mansion bill coming due. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, I don't get too much residuals off of soul food. I need help.
He was counting. He might have been counting on that change. He might be like, oh shit, when I get to do this tour with Anita, I'm gonna come up. And then like four concerts in, he's off the tour because his fans can't act right.
He's like, I'm still paying Pharrell for that whack ass album he produced for me. Like this is
oh my God. But shit, every time he closes his eyes, he might be thinking about her. You know what I mean? He want to know how long you gonna be off the tour.
Come on, he looking at When Can I See You Again?
That's such a sad song. Every time a girl broke up with me in middle school, I used to listen to that song in my room on loop. But it's back when you had the CD player and you couldn't even do loop. Yeah. You had to keep going back. You had to manually click back. And
your sadness you had to participate in your sadness.
Just with the back button again. And I run out of battery and then I get sadder. Like, oh Lord, I gotta replace the double A's.
I can't even replace my batteries. I'm so sad right now. The kids don't have to know about that. We went through that, so y'all don't have to go through
that. Everything digital now. Y'all don't got them problems.
Let's see. Chris Licht, I think is his name. He's leaving CNN. Mm-hmm. He's out after just 1 year.
He got fired.
He's a guy that fired Don Lemon, started wanting them to bring conservatives on and do that thing where you have to act like they're saying things that make sense or else you get fired.
So he came in to undiversify and got lost his job.
All your fave black shows that ain't on no more, probably because of him.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, he ended up getting fired himself.
They was like, the ratings are terrible. Of course, y'all not gonna get them people back. Y'all didn't serve anybody. You pissed off the audience that you had, and then the other people, they was never gonna come.
Yeah, I think he's also responsible. His brainchild was the Trump town hall that they did.
And it got bad ratings. Yeah,
and it was stupid.
It got great ratings, but it got great ratings, but for the wrong reasons. That's the thing. It's like the CNN audience turned on that. Like, but a lot of Trump's people watch that shit. And then
but they're
it's-
not.
I read that it got bad ratings,
Me
so it
too.
did
Oh,
get
really?
bad ratings. Yeah.
Mhm.
see, I thought he thought it was a huge success because everyone was.
Think
Oh,
Trump
okay.
thought it was a huge success.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we definitely know Trump.
Everything is a huge success.
Yeah, it probably depends. You know what, man? Our shit's so divided. It probably depends on which article I clicked on.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
the title of this Daily Beast is "Here's How Bad CNN's Post-Trump Town Hall Ratings Have Been."
Okay.
So that's the post-Trump town
Yeah.
hall ratings, but the actual town hall rating got 3.3 million viewers. But then everyone who wrote about it said it spectacularly misfired, I guess, because
Okay.
They expected
ratings went
more.
down as a result of that,
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess.
Mm.
Because I'm sorry, people, the kind of people that watch CNN don't want to see Trump go unchallenged.
No.
Nope.
It's just stupid. And they don't want to see him just be allowed to lie on a live platform.
Right.
And
Like, but he's so white. First of all, this is the neutrality of whiteness. It goes kind of back to what Brandon said, the regression. And the thing that's interesting about this to me is just 15 years ago, CNN could have done something like this and it would have been seen as not as controversial. Like, and I don't mean
Right.
after Trump's presidency, but like 15 years ago in Trump's life before he even ran for president. Just like he wants to run for president. We're gonna do a town hall and he's gonna have despicable views. And I think people would have seen that as the neutral thing to do. So at least the last 3 or 4 years have had the awakening to people being like, that's not neutral anymore. You pick the side.
Right.
But it just reminds me of what Karen said with Bud Light and Target and some of these other issues we're seeing. The middle is not really a thing that exists.
Nope.
Because
Nope.
conservatives
Not no
aren't
more.
conservatives used to accept that corporations had to do a certain amount of stuff just to please like the law and to please like the corporate interest, and they knew that their views weren't necessarily good for business, even if they were good for politics. So like they knew you couldn't have a company that was like, we're not hiring black people. They knew that was not good. They just accepted that. Now I feel like they're different. Now that I feel like these Republicans are like, you said Black Lives Matter. Why do you even have black people at your company? Fuck you. We're not shopping for you there anymore. And then the companies are just by being like, oh, hold on. You know what, you guys, we hear you. You were offended. We here at whatever big company, we support both sides. So what we're going to do is fire all the black management. And then you just got black people mad and the racist people mad because they're like,
Yes.
so the blacks are still there, and the black people are like, well, why are we in it? Why are you firing us? That's what it feels like is happening. And I think CNN tried to do a version of that, and this nigga got fired for it.
Yeah, I mean, they even shot themselves. Oh, sorry, Karen.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say they shot themselves in the foot because also Chris Light had the new host of the Don Lemon spot moderated, and she couldn't even push back. So then she looked incompetent. So it's like, what is this all for? I mean, that nigga was also crazy because apparently he was just egotistical and like screaming at everybody and wasn't listening to feedback and just hid in his office all day.
Yeah, and also for me, it's one of those things where it becomes very, very frustrating. And I know I'm of I guess a little older generation. I'm like, companies are not people, no matter what they say. Just sell me the fucking product. I don't give a fuck about I came here for goddamn hamburgers. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. I came here for hamburgers, fries, clothes, shoes, whatever you're selling me, just sell it to me. The end. You know, and I think now we live in a society where to an extent, I understand, and everybody has their line on this, where people feel like anywhere I spend my money, it has to be clean. But bitch, we live in America. So no matter where you put your dollar, if you dig deep enough, it's gonna have something fucked up attached to it.
Speaking of things being fucked up, let's play some games before we get Brandon out of here. Let's some fucking with black people.
Hey, we're just fucking with them people because they black. We're just fucking with them people because they black. We're just fucking with them black people. We're just fucking with them blacks. We're just fucking with black people. Hey, hey,
fucking with black people. We go out on the planet, find different articles that make us feel fucked with as black people, and we score them from 0 to 100 in intervals of 25. Today's contestants, Teddy Riley.
Oh boy.
Teddy Riley shows support to Donald Trump after pardoning his previously incarcerated brother. Teddy Riley is standing beside former President Donald Trump, who recently launched his 2024 presidential campaign. The New Jack Swing pioneer went to Instagram and gave Trump support. Just
Not the pioneer.
he is. All right, at the last year, I called it the No Vax Swing. You know?
Oh no!
Yeah, he's anti-vax.
Oh, no.
Of course he is.
I saw that during the like his verses or something like that, and I was like, oh, okay, well, all right, we know what that means.
With the hats that he wears, that's a no-brainer.
Right, yeah. I knew he was No Vax Swing, but I didn't know he was a Trump shaker. So he gave Trump support just weeks after his federal indictment. In a post, Trump claimed his innocence, while Riley, 55, responded to the comment section with muscle emojis. So the caption for Trump is, I'm an innocent man. The Biden administration is totally corrupt. This is election interference and a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. Make America great again. And then Teddy was like, muscles in the comments, like strong. That's what we need. After Trump is indicted on 37 counts.
That nigga's plump.
Yeah, and these, Trump has the Lil Wayne fuck with him.
Lil Wayne drunk all the time. He don't know what he's doing.
Lil Wayne can't remember the lyrics to his song.
Yeah, he said that publicly recently, right? Like I don't remember shit.
I'm not gonna lie though. He was high as fuck on Scissor, on Lean, and he was putting out 3 albums a day for like 6 years. It was crazy.
He's like, I never motherfucker. Sound like
how can anybody remember all that shit?
Nobody.
I know the Carter. Like I know a few of them, but damn, man. But yeah, so 0 to 100 for Teddy Riley, Care.
Oh, he had 100.
All right. I guess it wasn't good to you.
Mm-hmm.
What about
It was not.
what about you, Frank?
I gotta go 100 too, because why is he even like? You know how crazy you have to be just to follow Trump on social media, and then to on top of that respond and not think that people are gonna notice? Yeah, like get out of here, man.
I guess that's just Teddy's jam. Well, my fantasy is him also getting 100. And plus, it always makes it look bad. I hate when I mean, it's a pet peeve. It's not his fault individually, but God, I hate when like a black dude just is conservative out of nowhere.
Blacks for Trump.
You gotta. I seen 2 white women in black.
Yeah, I saw you post that.
Where did y'all 2 come? Where did they come from?
I don't know what the fuck.
Where'd they get those shirts from?
Right. Like, is it just a dude selling? Like, I'm so confused. I wish someone would interview them because I need to know the process of what they think that shirt means for them.
They're probably
What they're saying, we will have
sisters-in-law
sex with black men for Trump. Maybe that's what they meant. Black for Trump is what it should have said. But yeah,
no.
Teddy Riley gets a 100, man. Just so fucking sad. I didn't realize this was Teddy's jam, back in the day. All right. Let's get into some guess the race. So we can play all the games here today. This time for guess the race. 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 All right, guess the race. We go around the globe, find different articles, and guess the race of the people involved. Karen and Brandon are competing today, and the chat room plays along. Let's get to the first story.
Okay.
A Family Feud contestant who joked on national television that getting married was a mistake is now on trial, accused of killing his estranged wife.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's gonna be a weird That's gonna be a weird prosecution when they're less like, Your Honor, Exhibit A. Go to YouTube.
Life is such a dark comedy. Like that's what.
I don't know.
Like life is literally the Barry of the series, where it's like at first you're laughing and you're kind of like, oh, this is funny, and then you're like,
It
oh
really
Lord, like,
It really is.
Oh.
Like if you have a dark sense of humor, and I mean I do have a dark sense of humor. I just don't share it with 99.9% of people I meet. But like I remember the first time they started going back through the Cosby Show tapes, and it was weird clips of him like, yeah, I put stuff in the barbecue sauce. And I'm like, what the he was doing this in our faces? In our faces. And we were laughing like this is crazy.
But that's what makes it so fucking funny. Like I'm dark as hell. Like obviously it's not right at all, but like it's just how bold do you have to be to do that?
Yeah. What the fuck? He's like there's clips of him in interviews talking about Spanish Fly.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's honestly like it's like a sketch writer wrote it or something. It's like it's like Jordan Peele wrote it, and we're just living it. We're like, oh God, I'm living in a horror movie. Yep. All right, so Steve Harvey asked him. Oh, so this is the current Family Feud. This is not that long ago.
No, but Steve Harvey, this is current.
So Steve Harvey asked him, "What's your biggest mistake you made at a wedding, player?" And he said, "Honey, I love you, but said I do. Not my mistake. I love my wife." That's not even, that joke doesn't really make that much sense.
They can't all be winners.
Honey, I love you, but I said I do. Not my mistake. I love my wife. So he tried to take it back immediately, it sounds like. But yeah, his phone shows the searches.
Look, it was like, look at the board. Bing, number 1.
Yeah. So his phone shows searches for the following: how to open my door with a crowbar. Can I force open my door with a crowbar if I lock myself out? How to make a homemade pistol silencer.
What?
Yeah. His defense attorney says, look, it's a lot of reasonable doubt. He said this case is dripping with reasonable doubt.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, which sounds like what you say when your dude is guilty.
Oh,
well, he didn't say my client is innocent.
Yeah.
He said this case is dripping with reasonable doubt.
He's like, now listen, everybody. First of all, he was an incognito. Okay, so the way that they got that history is very questionable. Okay,
Your Honor, they ain't got my client on no cameras. But yeah, so guess the race is Mr. What's his name? Tim Bleefnick.
White.
All right, Brandon.
Yeah, it's cream on the corn, white.
All right, let's check the chat room, see what they believe. Survey says the number one answer is that he's white. Magruder did it white. For my woman, white. Oh, white. The correct answer is all of you got it right. He's white. Oh, let's see if I can show you this picture. It's a video on this one instead of just the regular picture.
Okay.
But maybe if I hit play. Oh God, now I gotta watch an ad. Nice try, buddy. All right, I'll Google his name and pull up a picture for y'all real quick. But yeah, man, I guess that's the other thing is so many people say jokes about my wife, my ball and chain, and he could be innocent, and that joke got him is going.
Oh, with that bow tie, yeah, he definitely.
He looked guilty.
How'd he kill her?
Tony.
Did he kill her with a top hat and a cane?
Well, I think he killed her with
like the Joker,
using a crowbar to get in the house. It sounds like from his Google search history.
From his Google search and hit her with a silencer.
Yeah, they didn't say the exact way she was murdered.
Showing up to the house looking like the Music Man.
Yeah, I'm assuming with a homemade silenced pistol, according to Google. Let's do another one. How about this one? A felony charge for a man who used airdrop to send naked selfies to strangers.
What? I turned mine off because I didn't know what it was.
Oh,
was
that's
like,
hilarious. I would do a prank like that. That's funny as hell.
That sounds like prison to me. In Oklahoma, man, you think I'll tell you what, $150 ain't gonna get you out of that warrant.
Listen,
You're gonna-
Malcolm X's biography. That's
You
a game
better-
changer, brother.
You better memorize the movie. An Oklahoma man, you better get a conch and everything. You go down there for this shit.
Of course, Rod. Do you know me?
He gonna be going down there in that zoot suit, walking like this. An Oklahoma man is facing an indecent exposure charge after allegedly using airdrop to send explicit photos of himself to employees at a real estate firm where he was applying for an apartment. Okay, the rent is too high to be playing games.
Right?
At the real estate place. Boy, you built different. Police say Stajak Helm, 23, used airdrop on his phone to transmit photos of his private parts and of himself naked in front of a mirror. Investigators described the alleged incident
with his whole face in it.
They described,
That was like, ain't that the dude that just walk out of here with an application? Yeah, look him up.
like when you look at it, does he make weird, creepy eye contact with you?
No.
Maybe we can work something out on that rent. The rent is a little too high for me, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, he took photos of himself naked. It's described as an indecent exposure via digital means. The Helms went to Tulsa Realtor to apply for a apartment. An employee of the firm told police that when they directed him to sit at a computer for the application process, he was filling out the application. Then two workers received the airdrop notification on their phones. Curious as to what the contents were, they both accepted the airdrop.
That's on them, though.
Yeah.
That's on you for accepting an unknown number. Like, because that could be anything. This is technology, y'all. Like, what the fuck?
Mine is like, if you ain't on my contact list, don't send me shit.
Also, can I clarify? I know I said earlier, like, I want to do something like this. I'm not gonna send my dick to random people. I'm talking about like maybe like do like a prank where I have like a picture of me and it says help or some shit. Like I'm fucking around with people.
Okay.
Like,
all right. You gotta explain. You gotta explain. That's a good job. Picking that back up. Because I was just like, oh God,
Brandon's trying to go to jail.
Yes. I thought
you gotta get out.
I thought his creepy voice was an act.
Hey, what's your Wi-Fi? Can I hook up to your Apple? Hey, you got AirPlay, right? You got Apple TV? Yeah, I put it on your screen. Yeah.
I got one extra page to my application.
Everybody getting that shit on their Macs and shit going, the fuck is this?
They accepted it.
And then Helm was arrested and booked in county jail. He was later released on $2,000 bond. What if like only one of them that accepted it reported it, and then the other one was like,
we might can work something out on the
well.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't feel like that's fully on him. Because that could have just been an act. I mean, if I had a good lawyer, I would just be like, oh, he accidentally sent it. Like you can't show I have malicious intent by error.
It's a felony.
I mean, he did it to like 2 or 3 people. I think you meant that shit.
Well, Karen, guess the race of Mr. Stajak Helm?
Oh, white.
Helm.
White.
Okay. Stajak Helm.
Stone.
Okay. You said
wait,
white.
What's
Go
the
ahead,
name again?
Go ahead. Stajak Helm.
That's European white. That's a foreign person that knows technology a little bit better than everybody else. That's why he's able to infiltrate these ignorant people, sending him dick pics and booty hole pics and shit.
Air dicking that application fee white. I bet it was an uncut tamale moist back wall crawling Mexican. Oh my God. Brand pervert white airdrop these nuts from the studio apartment white. This got to be good enough for a discount white. Not enough vowels his name. Okay. Special delivery white. Show me what you're working with white. Tweet on Succession white. White is the hostile reboot he escaped from. Digital flasher white. The correct answer is white. No one missed it, but this is his face here.
He looked like they asked him during the mugshot. They're like, he's like, I didn't believe that they would accept it.
Yeah, that's what he does. They accepted it. Oh man, I'm going to jail.
Right. And looked like he was looking at the camera. They told him that he looked up and they're like, all right, move on.
All All right. Well, look, you both are 2-2, so it's time to go to the final round of Guess the Race.
That was why I ain't racist. How can I be racist about anybody or anything in my life? How can I?
Call them niggas. Just call them niggas.
It's time to
Gold chain wearing, fried chicken and biscuit eating, monkey, big baboon, big thigh, fast running, high jumping, spear chucking, 360-degree basketball.
After his Minnesota home was burglarized last month, Blaze Smith, this is a fucking American Gladiator? What?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like an American Gladiator name.
Blaze Smith.
You come out there with his stars and stripes onesies.
Yo, you can't make that up. These names.
Did the final countdown start playing?
The final countdown.
All right. Blaze Smith anticipated that the intruder would return, so he left the window open and sat in wait, armed with a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire and studded with screws and nails.
Well, he thought he was Negan.
Taking it like a champ. The day after the April 15th break-in, cops charged Aldo Gomez, 35. He returned to the Smith residence in Eastwood Manor Mobile Home Park in Mankato, and he climbed through the window he had illegally entered the day before. But when Gomez got inside the home around 9 p.m., he was confronted by 28-year-old Blaze Smith. Gomez fled the residence with Smith in pursuit. Outside the mobile home, surveillance video captured Smith chasing and repeatedly hitting Gomez on the back of his head with a baseball bat. It was wrapped in barbed wire, had screws and nails in it.
You better fuck him up.
Yeah, the blows left Gomez with a fractured skull.
Get him.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Because I guess he got away running. He got home and was like, oh, I think my skull is fractured. When the police arrived, they said Gomez was sitting in the front yard bleeding. Gomez, who lives a block from Smith at the mobile home, was subsequently taken in an ambulance to a hospital. So he only lives a block away from the person he robbed. While being treated, Gomez reportedly admitted to burglarizing Smith's home on April 15th and returned the next day to take more items. Gomez was arrested on a pair of felony burglary counts. When questioned about the violent confrontation, Smith told police that after he reviewed his security camera footage following the initial break-in, he knew it was Gomez from his build and the way he walks, and he knows Gomez from prior interactions.
Because he lives a block away.
Yeah, it's like the Chris Rock bit, like, oh, I heard you got robbed. Nigga, you robbed me.
Yeah. But instead of contracting police, bat in hand, he waited for his neighbor to return. While surveillance video recorded Smith clobbering Gomez after he left the residence, Smith reportedly told cops he only hit Gomez while the burglar was inside his home. Smith claimed he struck Gomez with the bat only 4 times.
Fracture skull. Well, I don't know what that is. That might have been all it took.
So Blaze Smith, that's the race we're guessing. Blaze Smith, not the burglar. Mm-hmm. Blaze Smith was charged last week with a pair of felony assaults with a dangerous weapon counts. On Facebook last year, he tipped his followers to a recent theft at the mobile home park. Smith uploaded surveillance video of a man who stole my neighbor's lawnmower. The thief, he noted, walks with a very distinct hobble. So I guess he been new. All right, guess the race of Blaze Smith.
America first, whites.
All right, Brandon.
I'm gonna go with you fuck around and find out black actually.
All right.
Fuck no.
All right, let's check the chat room. Trailer Park White. What in the graveyard wrestling is going on here? White. Negan White wanted an excuse to commit murder. White. I bet it was a white, thin-lipped, bread-scented, and red-headed firecracker. White. Blake.
There's so many.
Black Dynamite right that one. Blaze Peacemaker Smith. Pays too much. Fry cry. White. Trailer Park niggas seems white, but the charge is not. Trailer Park Boys white. Trailer Park for Surveillance white. Feels black for some reason. Jackie Robinson black. Rex Quan don't white. Black seems black to me. Troy on the Dolly Black. The charge says black. The correct answer is Karen. You got it right. He was white.
Oh, dang.
I also low-key would have accepted Latino. And I'll show his picture and y'all can see why. But I would have accepted, but Blaze was not black in this case.
Oh,
so
yeah, he was
Yeah.
Puerto Rican.
He looks he's smiling like, yeah, I hit that motherfucker with the bat dog. Yeah. He shouldn't he had fucked with the wrong one. He was fucking around.
Yeah, he's like, don't fuck with a nigga named Blaze.
Yeah.
Fuck your shit up.
He hit him and said, Blaze. Just Blaze. All right. Last thing, because Brandon has a hard out.
Okay, go ahead.
So let's do some sword ratchetness, and now we'll get out of here in like a minute. All right, sword rat. Karen, were you gonna say something or?
I was gonna say the biggest reason why I went white is because they arrested him after the fact. Like he didn't get arrested immediately. They went back, you know.
Yeah, they had to think about the charges.
Yes, they was like, wait a minute, damn, we got the charge. Right, go back and arrest him, I guess.
All right, sword ratchet this time.
All right, another story out of Springfield to tell you about. Smoky Bar News reporting a man was taken into custody after a fight with a sword. You're looking at the aftermath and the arrest right there. The 911 caller told dispatch 2 men were fighting. One possibly had serious injuries from a sword. Well, they only ended up having minor injuries. That's the good news. Both men were taken to the hospital. One was in handcuffs. Police are still investigating.
Minor injury. So you own a sword. You're not even good at using it. You know, like you know how much I feel like less of an adult if you told me, yeah, that sword. Minor injuries. You didn't do shit to that man.
Like mediocre whiteness at its best.
Yeah. Brandon, tell everybody where to go to check out Drunk Black History and everything else.
Yes, folks, please hang out with us Sunday, June 18th, Drunk Black History, drunkblackhistory.com. We're going to be at the Bell House in Brooklyn at 2 p.m. having mimosas, talking about historical Black figures that haven't gotten their due, me and the homie Gordon Baker Bone. If you're not in the New York area, there will be live stream tickets available. Again, drunkblackhistory.com. And y'all can just follow me at American Collins on all social media platforms. Thank you to Rod and Karen, as always, for the platform. Really appreciate it. And I really appreciate your audience because they've been fucking with all my projects since the beginning. So I really, really appreciate that.
Hey man, no doubt. But also, dude, you're talented. You're funny. Like
we love you.
Guys.
We just try to put people on the good people, and the good people, attract good people, and that's why they come over to you, man. All right. Shout out to Gordon and everybody else over there too. Tati's also a part of the show too. She does all the online stuff. It's a great organization, great operation over there. All right, we'll be back probably Saturday for feedback show. Or whenever we fucking feel like it. All right, y'all. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.